I'm Professor Peter Fox-Penner, Professor of the Practice Equestrum and Director of Boston University's Institute for Sustainable Energy. Our mission is to accelerate the sustainable energy transition that we know our whole Earth has to go through, and we want to do that through doing world-class research that engages with policymakers and industry, as well as our fellow academic colleagues all over the world.
I'm Jackie Ashmore, and I'm the Executive Director of the Institute for Sustainable Energy and also a Research Associate Faculty Member in Mechanical Engineering. One of the things about climate change is that at this point so much is understood from a scientific point of view, from an engineering point of view, from a policy point of view. We have many solutions essentially at our fingertips, and yet one of the really tough challenges in changing our energy system rapidly is around behavior change. And so figuring out how we talk to people about what the challenges are and how they can be a part of the solution and how they can change their behavior is really critical.
We have a climate communications initiative because we think the communications dimension of the climate change challenge is unique and it's important.
Climate change communications are such an important part of the overall approach in transitioning our energy system to a more sustainable form. Sarah Finney-Robinson came to us as one of our senior fellows with just incredible expertise, as well as a lot of relationships and knowledge that she was really able to utilize in getting this effort off the ground.
I am Sarah Finney-Robinson, and I'm the director of the 51% Project. About a year ago, I just had had enough of having a very awkward conversation with friends and even family about climate change. So I started sort of prowling around in the scholarly literature and discovered that there's this vast body of expertise around climate change communications.
My name is Arunima Krishna, and I'm an assistant professor of public relations at the College of Communication at Boston University. Scientific issues should be treated a little more differently, highlighting the expertise of the scientists who actually perform the scientific research.
Scientists are fantastic at expanding the boundaries of knowledge and discovering the things that we need them to discover about climate change, the truth about climate change. But they're not trained to communicate that to non-specialists and non-scientists.
My project hopes to relieve them of that burden and instead place it on the amazing population of professional communicators, producers, editors, writers, publishers, filmmakers, influencers of all sorts. So my project is strategically aimed at the growing proportion of Americans who are concerned or alarmed about climate change. When I founded the project in March 2018, the Yale team I work with put that percentage at 51%.
So alarmed, concerned, cautious, disengaged, doubtful, dismissive. Go after the 30% of concerned plus 21% of alarmed equals 51%.
I'd really say what we've done under the 51% Project in the last year is very aligned with what we have done in other areas as the Institute to date. We've got an educational component, so students from the College of Communication have got to think about the climate change topic, which otherwise they might not have touched through their education. They've then got to implement an approach to communicating that as part of their undergraduate training. And finally, we've got to spread the word far beyond campus. These PSAs airing across the US on Saturday mornings. It's just incredible.
We need humans to take action against climate change. Ideas, go.
The opportunity to work with students in the College of Communications and let them practice the craft of communication, which you really have to learn a little bit by doing. You can't just learn it out of books. On a subject that's really important and difficult to communicate about. Was just an ideal kind of collaborative learning opportunity.
Shot one, take four. Clap her up.
Hot House is a class at Boston University that is a student-run, client-driven production house. This year, Hot House, which is a mix between grads and undergrads, was tasked with making 3 PSAs for the 51% Project,
targeting young audiences to motivate them to act on climate change. It's going to be airing as part of Linton Entertainment's programming on Saturday morning on local television across the country.
Each one is tethered with facts that we have sourced properly, and also with the communications principles that I've been teaching all the teams this entire semester.
97% of human scientists agree that it's human-caused. The other humans need more of a spark.
The climate change communication principles are a set of ideas that really can guide us in how we talk and have larger projects around climate change awareness. So that may be thinking about the scale of the message that you're sending.
And so one of the ways of trying to get people to do something about and talk about climate change more seriously is to show them the impact that it might have on them.
Well, the UN says that it'll cost $54 trillion to fix the damages with the path that I'm on, so...
Bachelorette, who do you choose?
And that gets to one of the principles that I've identified from the scholarly literature. It's called the trusted messenger.
I can use my power within my family or at my school or with my friends to talk about climate change and what it's doing to the world and how we live.
Daddy, what do you think of climate change?
Trust in the messenger, trust in information sources is one of the most key determinants of how people accept information, whether they accept information, and whether they're more likely to talk about it to others, and so on.
If we don't curb carbon emissions by 2030, extreme weather events will become the new normal.
2030? You might even have kids of your own by then.
Forget my kids. What about me?
Daughter says, "What about me?" And what that really, the reason why she says that is because it's important at the end of this PSA that people realize that we need to start the conversation and really get people talking about global warming and what's really going on around us.
I think that doing this project has actually achieved what we hope to have our audience go through, which is create conversation. You know, I talked to my parents about how this is something that in 10 years, the Earth might be significantly different than it is now. And we may not know the solutions, but if we're not putting the work, the effort, and the money into creating and researching these solutions, then we're not going to get anywhere and we're not going to make progress to stop a lot of the things that are currently happening.
BU has a great opportunity to lead on climate change as a university, and the Institute for Sustainable Energy is an essential element to that.
Our mission broadly at the university is to promote the best use of the truth for the betterment of humankind. So communicating about climate is an important part of the deepest, longest, most important mission of Boston University.
Universities for generations, right, have been the purveyors of intellectual thought, have been the purveyors of trying to get society to move in certain directions to make it more sustainable. And what better way of trying to make society sustainable than trying to understand the one major threat we have to our world?
There are a number of things that universities can do to lead on climate action, and if you look at the newly adopted Climate Action Plan here at Boston University, you will see a stellar example of a roadmap that is perfectly appropriate for this community. It points the way to more integration of climate literacy into the curriculum across the board, because there really is no subject at this university in terms of research and study and coursework that isn't impacted in some way by climate change.